Are you a tough, dominant alpha male or just some sort of beta cuck? That's one of the things I'm personally tired of hearing. If you call yourself an alpha male, please stop because nobody cares and most likely you're anything but that. So let's talk about it. But first, you need to like this video and subscribe to the channel because that would be really awesome and it'll help me make more content like this. Now let's get started.
Hi, I'm Stephanie and you're listening to Touch Grass and wash your beep.
Wow. What's up, bro? What's up? Y'all boys always know I got your back. Yeah, we're always gonna be tight, bro. Oh my goodness. Y'all see them? Wow. What's up, bro? What's up? Hey! Nah, you up cold, bro? Yeah. Ryan, we can wrestle right now, bro. That's not a problem. No, not a... Bro, I'm cool with that. Yeah, that's fine. Hey, good night.
So what is an alpha male? In popular culture, an alpha male is often portrayed as a dominant, assertive, and successful man. But in reality, it's a term with roots in animal behavior, usually wolves, referring to the highest ranking male in a social group, often associated with leadership and dominance. First things first, the idea of an alpha male wolf is a myth. The term alpha comes from studying wolves in captivity, which is different from the social structure of wolves in the wild. In the wild, wolf packs are usually led by a breeding pair, not an alpha male, okay? So the leader of the pack is actually just mom and dad. Most wolf packs are family, and you rarely see them fight for supremacy within the pack. The term alpha male comes from studying wolves in captivity, where unrelated wolves are often thrown together. This is where fights for dominance are more often observed. Essentially, what we call alpha male mentality is mimicking wolves in captivity, which ironically are mimicking prison behavior. A great example that we should all strive for.
I have literally broken down how to get women into an exact science. Well, first of all, you have to be an extremely high value male. What does that mean? Well, it means you walk in a room and you demand presence. Women know you're their daddy. Women know you're their master. They know you are very financially well off. We are talking 5 figures made every quarter. That is a lot of money. Also, they know you can handle business. They know if you really need to get your hands dirty, you can, because that's all what being an alpha isn't about. And it's about waking up at 3 a.m. It's about rubbing a banana in your face. That's how you become high value. Buy my course.
The truth is, anytime I hear someone declare themselves an alpha male, I immediately know that I'm in the presence of an asshole. He's going to be the loudest guy in the bar, the most obnoxious, and he's going to be the reason why all the women need to watch their drinks. These are typically the type of people who want to pretend that they're in charge of every situation that they're in. They like to strut their feathers out and try to dominate other males. Usually, the pattern starts with money. They'll flash money around and try to be the financially superior person. They're often buying drinks for strangers just to show that they can. And that in itself isn't so bad. It's perfectly fine to buy drinks and make friends. You just don't need to announce it to the whole bar.
Have you ever met people who think they are better than you, they are better than anybody else? They love to brag about their money, their house, their car, and all that they have. If they were that important, would they have to brag about it? The answer is no. You want to know when somebody is important, when somebody is big? Watch how he or she treats little people.
Now, if money doesn't work, the next step is usually noise. They try to talk over everyone and put themselves on display. In a lot of cases, they'll try to roast others or talk down to people to make themselves look better. But of course, talking about others says more about you than it does about that person. Once that fails, they'll turn to physical dominance. Usually, they're pretty drunk at that point, and the disappointment of finding out that they're not the most important person on the planet starts to set in. Now they want to fight somebody. And as I've said before, you should never agree to a fight. Once you see a situation escalating to this point, it's time to blow the joint and go somewhere else. Don't even entertain it. Another thing that's common with the so-called alpha males that I've encountered is that they tend to whine loudly when they don't get their way. Some of these guys are truly pathetic. I've witnessed people striking out in the social scene and resort to offering money for sex. If a person is a sex worker, then that's their business, whatever. But when you're walking up to strangers and making that kind of an offer, that's just a whole different kind of sad. That's why a woman should not trust their drinks around these guys, because a lot of them are willing to take that extra step and violate someone in order to get what they want. I've seen guys who are like this, and it's not cool. In any case, the self-proclaimed alpha male tends to lack in all of the things that define being an alpha male: confidence, leadership, and assertiveness. But since I don't care for the term alpha male, we're just going to let these bums have it, and we're just going to go with being a gentleman. Now let's start with confidence. An alpha male believes that his confidence must be on display at all times. He has to let everyone know exactly how confident he is. Ironically, this is something that a person with no confidence would do. A gentleman allows his actions to speak for him. He doesn't need to announce anything. He shows up, everyone knows his name, and a positive aura infects the room. His confidence is in his eyes, it's in the way he dresses, and in his body language. He's the type of man that says what needs to be said and little else. And he almost never boasts of himself because he knows that he doesn't have to.
Excuse me, sir. You look really confident.
I look confident?
Yeah, what makes you confident?
You gotta believe in yourself, man.
Self-belief.
You got to. And if you don't believe in yourself, nobody will. So it starts, everything is self.
So what would you share to somebody who is really down bad right now, not believing in themselves, not having any self-confidence?
What would I say to them? You gotta get over it, man. You know what I mean? You gotta get up, put your boots on, and get out there. And you gotta believe.
Leadership. Alpha males often confuse leadership with bullying. They miss the very first step. In order to be a leader, people have to want to be led by you. Pushing people around, trying to be dominant and superior will not earn you many followers. You might pick up a yes man or two along the way, but they don't like you either. When the money runs out, they'll be long gone. Gentlemen know that there is a time to lead and a time to follow. The gentleman understands that he's not an expert on everything under the sun and is happy to allow others to take charge when the situation calls for it. When it's his time to take command, he knows that his role is to benefit the whole. A gentleman knows that leadership is not a privilege, it's a responsibility.
The best leaders I know are students of leadership. There's no such thing as an expert leader. It doesn't exist. Like there's no such thing as an expert parent. It doesn't exist. Right? We are students of leadership. And even the most senior leaders constantly are reading books, reading articles, watching talks, having conversations all the time about leadership.
Assertiveness. Alpha males tend to confuse assertiveness with aggressiveness. Sure, they may be direct in their communication, but they miss every other key characteristic of being an assertive person. Instead of being respectful and confident, they are completely consumed with the idea of dominance and care only about getting what they want. A gentleman can be direct while also remaining respectful and clear. He knows his intentions and is capable of communicating those intentions without being overly passive or overly aggressive. A gentleman has self-confidence and knows his own worth.
Do you ever wonder when some people talk how they just command people's undivided attention? Well, here are 3 things that you can do to be more assertive without coming across as aggressive. Number 1 is be confident. Believe in what it is that you're talking about. If you don't believe in it, then do the research, do the work to build that inner confidence. The second is to be clear. Learn to be direct in how you speak. Learn to say I statements. Learn to say no. And when you're clear, people will respect those boundaries. And the last one is to be controlled. If you're overly emotional in those situations, it'll get the best of you. And you might even think about winning and them losing versus both of you winning.
Alpha male, at this point, is just another word for arrogant narcissist. A gentleman should avoid people who claim to be this just as much as people who claim to be nice guys typically are anything but. So instead of striving to be an alpha male, just be a gentleman. It's better, it gains more respect, and you'll find yourself surrounded by real friends instead of people who just want to get something out of you.
Hey guys, that's it for this edition of Touch Grass. If you enjoyed this video, please feel free to leave a like and subscribe, but don't just sit and watch internet videos all day. You need to go outside and conquer life because you matter and you need to make every day matter. Now get off the internet and go touch grass.
I got a lot of comments asking to do it with chunky peanut butter, so today we have the Peter Pan chunky peanut butter. That was definitely harder, but not
until we meet again.